Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm actually looking at the How We Approach Story post from Jill Murray from 3 hours ago today. So they've posted this on Twitter from the Subnautica Twitter account, and then we have Braxton posting it. I think Danya did as well, and Danya is, I think she's the community manager at Unknown Worlds here, and this is the thread. I'm going to talk about something here in a second in regards to this, but just reading through this, I don't want to read it kind of like verbatim here with everything. She's really talking about coming in, looking at all the different components here, and kind of really asking what can they do here. And it's really what was interesting in actually reading through this. It's really what I do, and I've mentioned this before, that I have a publishing company. We do kids books. I'll actually put some links for those in the description, but they actually star a handful of them, which is the Color Me Zombied, well, it's a zombie bedtime story series that we have. That actually stars my son as the main character, and then we have a witch book series called Intertwined, and then we have a kids sock book, and then we're working on one right now. It's just called Book Ventures. It's just a placeholder title, but these kids have the ability to go in and out of books, so we're currently working on that right now. And then we have a couple different other ones in the works also. But what she's talking about here is actually what we do for our stories. Now, it's just me and a writing partner. He lives in Colorado, I live in Oklahoma, but I've known this person since middle school, so he's my best friend, and he's actually a writing major, so he is a much better writer than I am. I do some of the writing. We kind of split the stuff here, and then we have a local artist that I'm actually going to be teaming up with for some projects for this channel. Fingers crossed I get those out here pretty soon. But our process is really what she's talking about here, which is you take these general concepts, and then it's, does that actually fit into the world? Does it work? And me and him bounce ideas off of each other. She has a bigger team, and that's something that she talks about here, which is she's actually going to the team and saying, hey, what are things that you guys want to do with this? And then trying to see what kind of sticks with all of that. And the other thing here, she's talking about going from Riley in Subnautica, where he wasn't a talking character, to Robin, who speaks. That's a huge change. So there's a lot of different things that need to go into her character arc, and you want to really develop her as a character through this game. But with this, you take these general concepts, and then you find out which ones fit within the world, and then with that also you're asking your teammates. She has a bigger team to deal with, but what do you guys like, what do you don't like, and trying to see what feedback they have. We do that with actually allowing people to read, family, friends, things like that. What do you guys like about this, what you don't like, when we have kind of a general concept, and then we get feedback from them, and then we start to narrow those things down until eventually you really have this outline, and then from there you then start to fill in the gaps. We do an outline beforehand with our general concept. We start to write, we start to get a feel for that, and then we kind of hone it in. So we do part of what she's doing, but it was very, very interesting to see the process here. So things that you can count on here. But Robin's going to be in the story. That's addressed right here. She's for sure going to be in there. So she's saying, hey, some small details are going to change. She's going to have more autonomy than in the previous iteration. With this, Alan's going to be in here. He's still going to get in your brain, and he's still going to need a body. They're going to focus more on personality, backstory, and his motivations as well. Obviously, Marg, which I was told I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's Marge, so it's Margaret. Is it Margaret with the full name, and then Marge when it's shortened? I may still be off on that. So if you guys know on that one, definitely let me know. But she's still going to be in game with this. I mean, she's a huge part of this, but with this, says no plot can fully contain her here. They're wanting to connect her to the story more, which is awesome, which means more interactions, which we've seen, and that's actually something that I've highlighted on the channel. And then the world, its creatures, all that. The bases may come and go or shift a few hundred meters in one direction or another, but the substance of the world in Subnautica Below Zero will remain fundamentally the same. I think that's a big thing to say here, and they've talked about it before, but just to harp on it again with this. And this is the part that I was talking about. It says, players sometimes say to me, oh, so you're the narrative person, so you decide what the story is. She says, not quite. What I actually do when I arrive on a team where I've been asked to help evolve a story out of the elements of an old one is talk to everyone and find out things like, what do players like about this game and its story? How does the team feel about what they've made so far? What are the deadlines and constraints? She has that in was italics there. I think that one's interesting here, because that's something to consider with this as well. What is the team actually going to build? And then she does a lot of brainstorming. And then she's meeting with the teams. She's trying to figure out how these things fit together. And what she does is she actually sketches out an overview. Now, I've saved this and tried to blow it up just to maybe see if I could find some other stuff. This is like a very small thumbnail on purpose. Other than like under review right here, it's very hard to pick out anything. Let's blow this thing up. That's as far as it goes, and I'm not seeing anything. But to see the lines and how these things connect, we don't do that for our books, but that's just for a book, and she has a game here, so these are like parts of the map that things have to cue in. That's really, really interesting. Very detail oriented, and that's just a cool overview. I think that's a cool insight to the process of doing this. And then she talks about, we do this, things come and go, then we have to do it again. Then she'll actually end up making another one of these and essentially honing that in finally. And after all of this happens, it says, then finally the writing and casting and all of the production of story stuff you'll be able to see and hear and read in-game begins for real. So she says, but I'll have to tell you more about that another time. A big thing in this as well is looking at how these things connect. What's interesting with the game is, like in a book, it just leads you to the next thing. Here, what they have to think about and what you're seeing on this map is, and she's actually touched on it in this as well, which is, in a game you want it so that, and especially this game where the first game is open world, you want to keep elements of this here. It has a linear story, but you still want that feel to it. So not confining the character to a set pathway where there are options is something that she's mentioned in here. And with that, you're seeing this on the map of, well, this could click in, or this could, or this could. They could all be a little bit different. And I'm curious to see if the order and how this map kind of lays it out is, does the dialogue shift a little bit because of that? And I think that would be an interesting thing to see in the game. I hope it is there, because otherwise you do feel like you're kind of being drug along this very linear path with a little choice in it. But this one here kind of addresses that. It says, how can the various game mechanics be used to tell different parts of the story? What can we reflect back to the player about their choices through the way things in the game work and the way the world and other characters respond to them? This one here too, it says, from there, it's a lot of meetings about every element of the game, each cinematic, the way different environments will change or be employed differently. So, that's something that it's good to see that she is understanding that the first game, because it's open world and you kind of get to explore it and do it in the order that you saw fit, was something that she's wanting to keep for this game to the degree that she can, with it being the story, a linear story the way it is. So So what's in the new release here? It says totally new intro cinematic. You'll hear, and this is important here, hear the new Robin and new Sam's voice for the first time. So I did that last video. Braxton was saying, hey, this is he commented on it, which is awesome that he even watches any of my videos, but he did say, hey, this is a new voice actress, and that COVID-19 is, and it even says here, we'll have more to say about casting and how COVID-19 has impacted our recording process soon. We think it deserves its own post, but he's saying, hey, it's hard to have the recordings with this. A couple different reasons. One, obviously you can't just go somewhere and record, and two, it's for a lot of these voice actors and actresses, they don't have the full-blown gear. They don't have a sound room, they don't have all those things to record. They may have something like I have, which is a Yeti mic, so you may find that with this we end up with just placeholder, and I think that's what we've just been hearing, right? Just placeholder voice work. But I think right now that's something that is an impact for them, so or it's having an impact on them. So I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why. Obviously we're not seeing all the text in game, but it's something that they need to figure out, and so many people have been crying out for the return of the first voice actress that I'm thinking they're gonna listen, but now it's just the kind of holdup of we want to do recordings, but we just can't do them the way that we need to for this. And hopefully we see more on that soon. With this post, as I was reading through it, I was like, this would have, and I'm not trying to knock the team, but this would have been, it is impactful now. It would have been even more impactful when they announced the change in story. I know that they were in the process of doing that, but these little posts I think mean a lot to the community, so to have one from her, maybe just the early, it wouldn't have been all of this information, but just an intro, this beginning portion here, back in December or January would have been a huge deal to everybody, and to have more of them. So hopefully we do get these follow-up posts that they're talking about the recording and how COVID-19 is having an impact on that, and the other things that they're going to be talking about with this. So fingers crossed we do get to hear from them, but I know that the team is really, really busy, and I think they're doing a phenomenal job with all of this. So we have this. I'm going to put the link so you guys can read through this as well. So like I said, I tried to skim through it, reading just little parts here and there, but I don't want to read it, like I said, verbatim. And I almost forgot, new journal entries, by the way, from Robin, and calls between Robin and Alan, and it says right here, very important, it says in text. That is on the outside there because they don't have the voice work for that just yet. And then they're trying to improve the narrative pipeline. I think that's important because right now when I play it, obviously it's in the experimental build, but it just feels like everything is disjointed. It doesn't feel like it's connected just yet. I know it's heading there, but that's just how it feels. Other thing, if you click on this on Twitter and you scroll down, a couple people have asked questions. An estimated date of release, question mark. Can't wait to play the finished game. Danya, the community manager here, we're still aiming to release this year, but no confirmed release date as of yet. Thank you for your continuing support. Continuing to support us with this. That's a question I get a ton. When is it going to release? And they still have been super vague. We don't know. But just to see it kind of reiterated right here. Hopefully we have news soon, but they still have, I mean, a lot of work that they're doing with trying to kind of rework the story with this. So that is it for this video. If you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.